In today's video, we are going to go over my top 5 habits that have changed my life. It is time to take the guesswork out of being successful. By the end of this video, we are going to build a clear path that you can start taking today to achieve whatever you want in life. We just need to navigate through what works and what doesn't. And well, these 5 things have worked really well for me, and hopefully they will work for you as well. Now on this channel, we talk about personal finance and more importantly, being successful in whatever it is that you want to achieve. Now watch until the end of this video because I am going to take everything that we learned here today and put it into a simple blueprint of success that you can follow. Smash the like button so we can begin. Oh, you did it. Wow, that's a nice surprise. And without further ado, my name is Alex Pandrea. Welcome to Pandrea Finance. Let's begin. The first thing that I started doing that really changed my path to success was to structure my life and organize it all down on paper. This is probably the most important step to start with because everything that comes next will be a result of learning to structure and organize everything. Now let me explain what I mean by that. Have you ever known somebody who's just all over the place, or they're said to be a mess of a person? You're just a mess. You're a mess. All right, be honest. Is that person you? Okay, well, this person was me for the longest time, and even in my early years of business, I had no structure to anything I was doing. And this also reflected other things that I try to do, like I try to invest or trade. Again, no structure. This is until I started writing everything down. Now, let me explain exactly what I do because there are a few tips in this that I think you might find useful. I structure everything into day, month, quarter, and year. So I write down my tasks of things that I need to get done each day, and I physically write these down in a notebook. Now I have different notebooks for different areas of my life, different businesses, and each one of these serves different purposes. Now I used to do all of this on my phone, but it's just not the same. I used to do them on little post-it notes, but again, not the same and not big enough. So I just do it now in my notebook. I make a huge list, usually Sunday night before the week starts, of what I need to get done that week. So that's step number 1. Then come Monday morning when I'm sitting at my desk, I circle the tasks that need to get done by that day no matter what. Then Tuesday, I circle more. Wednesday, I circle more, so on and so forth until the end of the week. I don't worry about anything that is not circled in that particular day. I've noticed that this way of doing things forces me to do the most important tasks first, and it also speeds up my process of getting things done because usually by Wednesday a lot of the times, I would be finished with my list. And then I'm like, all right, now what do I do? Okay, next I use one of these whiteboards to lay out the plan for the current month. I write down the month on top as well as all the projects listed out, sort of like a checklist, so I can consult this as I am going through my day-to-day tasks in my notebook, which is good because then I can see the progress that I am making. So I have here listed off finance, YouTube. One of them is this video. Look at that, 5 habits that changed my life. And it's of course filled in with more projects and stuff. Now I filled this up randomly for this particular video just to show you, but usually this is filled all the way through and I have a few of these laying around that I can consult. Now these two work nicely paired together, and let me give you an example of that. Let's take this YouTube channel for example. I may write down on the monthly board the title of this video and that I have to post it so I know this is a video for this month. That task would then be broken up on my daily list as things like script, film, edit, upload, design a thumbnail, and I have all of that as a checklist. So now you kind of see how I am structuring these things. Okay, next here is the motherboard. The next board that I use to structure my life. Isn't she a beauty? Now I use this board to structure my yearly projects and everything that I have to get done for that year. I would break up this board into different sections. Now this helps me more than anything to keep me focused on the bigger picture. I'm able to write down the months over here, break up this section into quarters, and give myself a plan for the whole year. That I can work towards since everything is laid out very nicely for me. So these 3 things really changed my life.
Call now.
Okay, let's talk about educating yourself into becoming rich and successful. I feel like this one is an obvious thing to say. Hey, just learn stuff. Cool. But it is a little bit more nuanced than that, and it wasn't until I got the full grasp of the secret that I was really able to put it to good use. So what is the secret? So let's say you want to be a big shot stock market trader. Because let's be honest, this is what a lot of people nowadays start off in the stock market, right? I'm gonna trade some stocks and make some money. And you go down the path of learning things like day trading and cryptocurrency trading and trying to 10x your money with the next meme stock or penny stock or meme coin to the moon rocket emojis, which sometimes you can make money with, but you are narrowly going down one particular path. Now, the thing is, as a beginner in any area, you might not know the different paths that you can take. So what do? Well, we have to create a circle of knowledge around our topic of what we want to do so we can educate ourselves and have the best chance of success. So what do? Well, we expand our circle of knowledge a little bit at a time. I started my investing journey by buying broad index funds, and then I learned about what makes an individual company worth investing in. This led me to discovering things like options and the way that I can use options, for example, to complement my investments. I started reading a wide scope of books, and through this learning process, I created who I am as an investor. I understood what type of investor I am at this time in my life. Now, I feel very comfortable with my investing, and that's because I studied up on as much as I could and determined what was right for me, and more importantly, what wasn't. For example, I tried day trading stocks. Not for me. I tried buying short-term out-of-the-money options with the dream of tripling my money overnight. Not for me as well. Well, why didn't these things work? Well, forget the fact that it's almost impossible to make consistent money doing so. I didn't like the stress that it caused on my day, and even after, I would put on a trade and keep it overnight, and during the early mornings of the day, I would be checking futures like a madman. Not healthy, wouldn't recommend it. This all led me to try to solve the issue of the stress. And by solving that particular issue, I better understood what I should be doing. So instead of buying options, I switched to selling options, stress-free. Instead of day trading and holding stock for just a day, I thought about what companies I would want to hold for 10, 20 years. But I would have not gotten to these conclusions if I didn't educate myself on everything surrounding the particular topic. Now, let's take a look at how we can structure this so it makes sense and you can visualize it. So here we have your topic of what you want to succeed in. It could be anything. I am going to put investing. Now, from this, you start drawing lines out. What subsections can I study that make up investing? Then you research each one and see if it is right for you or not. What this does is it's going to make you have a better understanding of the main topic, and you'll have a clearer vision of what you need to do. This is a process you need to go through yourself because everyone is different, and you can't just have a blanket path to success. You need to educate yourself down your particular right path. And once you have this all laid out, you can then say, okay, this is for me, this is not for me. Oh, this and this are for me. How can I use them together? And again, this provides you a clear picture of what you should be doing and what path you should be following. The next thing that I started doing and saw an immediate change in my personal success is thinking differently and going against the grain. In life, you have the herd, and everyone is doing the same thing, thinking the same, acting the same, dressing the same. Basically, the majority of people in this world are boring. This is a big reason, in my opinion, that the majority of people are not successful. They do not think differently. And if you know the famous Apple ad campaign called Think Different, you might know the well-known line from that commercial, which goes a little something like this: because the people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. This concept of thinking differently doesn't necessarily need to lead you to changing the world, but it will certainly give you the upper hand in anything that you want to do. Now, this is probably the hardest step because it is a mental shift that if you are not used to might be very difficult. If you have been programmed your entire life to see things one way and one way only, then it is going to be very hard to change, especially the older you get. In investing, it is quite literally a blueprint to success. I'm sure you heard the expression before, be fearful when others are greedy, and you can fill it in yourself because you know it. Be greedy when others are fearful. You see it all the time. When everyone is thinking one thing will happen, more often than not, the opposite happens. So if you are a contrarian to the herd, then you will have an edge. I started my business doing the same thing everyone else was doing. It wasn't until I started doing things that nobody in the industry was doing did I really see some growth. For example, everybody was producing playing cards with fancier and fancier designs. I said, all right, I am going to do the complete opposite to everybody. I am going to produce a deck of cards with no design. So I literally made a deck with just one color and one color only for the design on the back. Now, these decks of cards have sold more than 1 million units worldwide, and the brand itself is the best-selling custom deck brand in the industry. All from a simple phrase: think different. Trust me, when you start wanting to stand out in whatever you do, not only will you be more successful, in my opinion, but I think you'll have a much more exciting road ahead of you. Now, this is going to be Millionaire Habit 3.5, let's say, because I think it's an important add-on to my last tip of going against the grain. Now, especially in investing, you want to make sure to follow successful investors and understand what they are investing in. For me, I am looking at what the super rich are investing in, and this is where today's video sponsor comes in, Masterworks.io. Look, you see that right there? That is one of my favorite pieces from one of my favorite artists, Jean-Michel Basquiat. And I put it on the TV sometimes and I pretend like I own it. Because let's be honest, to own multi-million-dollar art, you need millions of dollars to invest. Until now. With Masterworks, you can now invest in art without needing millionaire status. Masterworks buys artwork ranging from $1 million to $30 million by artists like Banksy and Picasso. Then they securitize them with the SEC, which basically means they divide the art's value up, and that allows you to buy shares of that art on their site. Pretty cool. Now, I'm going to drop a link in the description below for you to get started, and I'm also going to show you the process of setting this up. It's super simple. Now, once you click the link in the description, you'll skip the wait list and you'll get to the sign up page. You can go ahead and enter your information here and then click request invitation. When setting up your account, put in how much you're thinking you'd like to invest over a period of a year. I'm going to go with a good amount. Now, after you've entered that, you can actually set up a phone call with somebody from Masterworks, an art expert that will take you through the mechanics not only of the platform, but of art investing. This is, to me, such a cool feature. In the call, you can learn about the different artist markets, their cultural significance, and how they've appreciated. Now, once you have set up your account, you can start looking for art pieces that interest you. Each piece of art has information that you can review, so you can see historical value over time. You can also see other information like the SEC special vehicle document information on the art piece by clicking here. So you can take a look at that. You can also take a look at their investment thesis that tells you everything about that particular investment and that art piece. And it's all laid out really well and very easy to follow. So now when you throw up a Picasso on your TV over there, you can actually be like, hey, I own that. So go ahead, check out the link down in the description to sign up for Masterworks and skip the waitlist today. Okay, let's talk about the importance of taking productive thinking breaks. Now, what do I mean by thinking breaks? Well, it's very easy for us to get lost in our day-to-day lives. Our minds are always occupied with one thing or another. For me, I felt I never had the time to gather my thoughts and think things through. I was always busy going from one thing to the other, and doing this made me think small and think in the moment. My mind was only occupied with what I was doing that day or that week. Now, going back to my first step of structure, this certainly helped me see the bigger picture of things that I wanted to accomplish, but how do I know what I want to accomplish? How do you know what you want to do? What do I enjoy? What should I be focusing on? It was only when I started doing this step did everything come full circle for me, and it continues to be very important for my success. So what are these thinking breaks? Well, it's simple. You gotta give yourself time to be alone with your thoughts. Now, this must be purposeful, not just when you're sitting in front of the TV daydreaming about something random, or in the shower where everybody comes up with their next $1 million idea. For me, I used to take long drives just to think. Now what I do and I find better is to take long walks. I would walk for at least an hour and just think through projects, ideas, and whatever else comes up. I would think about how I would accomplish those things, and I wouldn't try to be realistic. I would think big. See, it takes the same amount of energy to think big as it does to think small or be realistic. So with that in mind, why not think as big as possible? This will not only motivate you, but it will keep your momentum going in wanting to do bigger and better things. Now, there are just so many thoughts that one can have stored up in here, right? So the next step is to release them out. And how do we do this? Well, I found two very helpful ways for me. Number one, I write down my ideas. Always. When you get home, take all your thoughts and dump them in your notebook. Where's my notebook? Now, they don't have to be good ideas, just write them down because you never know where that seed of an idea might lead you to. The second thing that I do is to share it with somebody. Talk out my ideas because you can only get so far by yourself, right? It's important to have somebody that you can share your thoughts with, and together you can have sort of mini meetings on these ideas. You don't have to go any further than just thinking and talking these ideas out. I used to do these thinking exercises where I would go from an idea to starting a company, who I would hire, and then expanding everything in my mind, right? Expanding and growing the company to selling the company, all up in here. And I would do that all in one thinking session. This, I feel, made me more creative overall. Now, besides these walks that I take once or twice a week, I have started taking thinking trips at the start of each year. I recently just went away to the Maldives where there is absolutely nothing to do besides relax, and in my case, think. No phone, no social media, and I used this time at the beginning of the year to plan out my year ahead. After these thinking sessions, I feel inspired, I feel motivated, and for me, it has led to some amazing personal and professional growth. Risk-reward decision making. Alrighty, this one is super important. So let's say you do all the previous steps. You have great ideas, you are structuring your plan while learning as much as you can along the way. Well, to continuously evolve and grow, you need to be making great decisions. And not only once or twice, but you need to continuously make great decisions. And with each decision, you will move up to the next level in whatever you want to do. If you make a wrong turn somewhere along the way, it might take you back a step. Now, it's going to be very hard to only make good decisions in your life. Nobody does that. The idea is to move 2 steps forward and 1 step back. Now, in the beginning, especially when you are younger, you will make mistakes along the way. When you have a decision to make, you might choose the wrong path more often than you choose the right one. But the more and more you go through life and the more decisions you make, the more you will start to realize which decisions will be good for you and which will set you back. But the question is there a way to analyze our decisions to better our chances of making the best decision for us? This is where the concept of risk-reward decision-making comes in. See, when you are faced with choices, you want to be able to risk very little on the downside for you not to be pulled back. At the same time, you want your reward to outweigh the risk. And if you could find times where the upside greatly outweighs the risk, then you have to go for it. Now, this at times might seem counterintuitive. See, a lot of people think that successful people take a lot of risk, but it's actually quite the opposite from at least what I've learned. Successful people take a relatively small amount of risk, but with a huge upside potential. Now, you can do this exercise very easily by playing out the given scenario when a decision comes up. What am I risking if I make this decision? What am I gaining? What about if I don't do this? What am I risking then? And what am I gaining? I'll give you an example. So I was making a very important decision for my business of whether or not to license some of my products. The risk was not making as much money. The reward was not having to produce the products myself, which in turn means saving the capital to be able to be reinvested somewhere else. So my gain of having that capital to deploy elsewhere, along with saving a lot of time, had to outweigh the smaller profit that I would make licensing. Now, this is very important in investing as well, right? Is the risk worth the reward for you? Now, you'll also notice that this is a learning process. You don't know necessarily your risk-reward balance yet. This is something that you learn through time, but by starting to think in these terms, I think you can start making better decisions for yourself. And this will only be reinforced with each decision that you make throughout your life. We can take everything that we spoke about in today's video and break it down into a plan of attack. So here's your master plan, your blueprint to success. Grab your notebook and write this down. Learn, structure, think, grow, and be different. Learn as much as you can so you can have a better understanding of what path is best for you. Structure and organize your goals clearly and concisely so you can tackle each with ease, and think deeply about your overall plan of your life and your success. And give yourself time to do this. Continue to grow with each decision that you make, making better and better decisions along the way. And above all, be different. Don't be like everybody else, because what is the fun of that? Don't forget to give this video a like if you learned something and enjoyed it. I would really appreciate that. Subscribe for more content. I believe in you, my friends. So thank you so much for watching, and we will see you on the next one.